Okay, so then a brief demonstration of how the competency-based education method would look like in a classroom. We're going to demonstrate with a little brief lesson. So we use kindergarten TEKS A1D. The main focus of the TEKS is the students' investigation of the life cycle of plants. You're going to want to go ahead and engage the students, and we are engaging the students in the objective of students will investigate the life cycle of plants, as well as understand that all organisms have basic needs. In a previous lesson, the students have planted seeds in the school garden, so they are aware that they would eventually check up on them, which is what our focus is today. You're going to want to go ahead and we are reminding the students, hello students, do you remember that 2-3 weeks ago we planted seeds in the classroom garden? The students become engaged and excited because that is something that they were able to be a part of. um, in this case, we are suggesting that the students choose to go ahead and use some materials, the ones that are listed. For example, some binoculars, some hats. If there is some materials that you think the students might be useful to the students, that is something that you want to go ahead and influence them to think of. So okay, perfect. So we have hats, we have binoculars. What is something else that plants need to live? Has it rained lately? So at that point, you want to go ahead and um, allow some students to take water so that they can go ahead and water the plants. In the previous lesson in which they planted the seeds, they were able to take shovels, small shovels. That is also something that they are able to take. And of course, since we want to go ahead and assess the students in the end, we want to make sure that they have something to refer to. In this case, do you want to go ahead and ask them to either take maybe journals in which they can draw what they are seeing, or maybe they can take like the classroom iPad in which they were also able to take pictures of planting the seeds, and now they will have a picture of what the seeds looked like 2 to 3 weeks after they were planted, to try to refer to as the life cycle of plants. This allows the students to be able to choose what they are learning, how they are using that knowledge of what they are learning, and how they're demonstrating, which will reflect in what they draw and in what they communicate to the teacher once they are back in the classroom. The students at this point should also be able to choose whether they're going to be working independently or in groups. So before we leave the class, children, do you want to go ahead and once we go outside, are we going to be partnering up with somebody? Do we want to partner up with somebody that has a different material than we do? That way we can share the materials, and or do we want to go ahead and work individually? At that point, if they choose partners, then they are assigned a partner before we leave the class, and then if they want to work individually, then we will go ahead and continue working individually. Um, Another thing to think about would be the correlation to how they will use this knowledge in the future. So once you're outside, you're going to be talking about, okay, so what are the differences that we see between what we see right now and what we were looking at 2 to 3 weeks ago. If some of the children start saying, oh well, now there's green plants, or I don't remember, that you can also remind them that they can refer to the iPad for the pictures of what the plants looked before and what the plants look like now. You can remind them that this is something that they can use in their advantage to or start implementing other lessons, like what else can grow out of these plants. If we plant an apple tree, what's going to happen when that apple tree grows? At that point, apples will start coming out, and they would be able to use that in either like an interest that they have in a future career, or simply an interest in a hobby that they want to make their own garden at home. Um, to go ahead and assess these students, we posted a short assessment in the slide after this. That assessment is specifically directed towards English language learners. It includes some guidelines on the fluency, the spelling of and the spelling of the vocabulary words that the students that those EL students used during the lesson and once they were back in class for their reflections. Once we get back into class, you want to go ahead and again um, allow the students to choose what we're going to be doing, to go ahead and reflect on what we saw outside, whether it be maybe paintings, um, group work, drawings. Maybe they wanted to go ahead and do a presentation in different groups. Considering it is kinder, they will probably be influenced towards more of the individual drawing and coloring or painting. Um, but that's just about how that competency based learning module goes. It's basically allowing the students to have choice, to allowing them to feel comfortable, have interest in what is being done, and making sure that you are aware of what each student was able to master within that lesson, and making sure that you don't leave the students that didn't master that behind, and instead making different pathways for them to be able to learn what was taught. Thank you.